Hello, it's Adelaide Jones from Adelaide Jones Ed. I'm meeting with you today in my beautiful backyard, but it's not to be in my backyard much longer because I am selling my house and almost everything I own to become location independent. So what is location independence? What does that mean? And it's really the ability to work and live anywhere and everywhere. It's the freedom of not being tied down to one place, one city, one area, and it gives the freedom to do jobs that we're passionate about instead of jobs that are just available near us. It's the ability to work and live on one's own terms, and I'm so excited to get started with that. Okay, that's cool, but where will I actually live? Where will I sleep and shower and use the bathroom and have a kitchen and be able to work? All those things. What's going on? There's a few different options for people. Most commonly, people who choose location independence will live in some kind of tiny home on wheels. That could be inside of a schoolie, which is a converted school bus, and if you haven't seen those, they're really neat. It could be an RV that someone lives in full time, or in my case, I am getting a van. It's going to be a ProMaster 2500 159-inch wheelbase cargo van, and I'm going to build that out to the interior to be a full-time living space. Now, I'm sure you might have seen some of that before on YouTube. There's a lot of videos about van life. The one that I'm particularly inspired by and that my build is going to be based on is from Lewis the Van. I will link that down below. It's an amazing build if you want to check that out. So how's this all going to work? Like I said, I sold all of my stuff. I sold my house, I sold almost everything in it, and the few things that I do have left, I have at my parents' house, and who are kind enough to let me store things there for a little while, and that's also where we are going to be doing the build. My partner and I are going to be building this out ourselves. We might hire some work here or there, such as electrical, because we're not super confident about that, but we're gonna figure it out and we're gonna build our home, and it's going to be a space for us to live in, and there will be a shower, there will be a bathroom, there will be a kitchen, there'll be a spot to work, all of the things that we need, and we're really excited to get started. It's definitely non-traditional, but it fits our lifestyle because we have done this before. Not in a van to live full time, but we have gone on our van dwelling adventures. We have a 1995 Astra van named Lady Bird, who's amazing, and we've been on a lot of fun adventures with her. The longest of which was a 32-day cross-country trip in the summer of 2019. At that time, she wasn't built out at all. We just threw a mattress in the back and went on our way. And we learned a lot from that trip. And most importantly, we learned that we love this lifestyle and we can actually do it. Since then, we've gone on a lot of smaller trips, and we made the decision that this is what we want to do. When we do finally hit the road, after the van is built, which will be months from now, and I'll keep you guys updated on the process if you want to watch how that's going. We will find small plots of land, just like very small plots of land throughout multiple states to have home bases, safe places for us to park long term. We probably start a garden at some of those locations, but just small plots of land here and there. And then as far as where do we park at night, if we're not on one of the home bases, there's lots of options. We spend most of our time in free public land, like national forests are a great place to park, and if you're out west, BLM land as well. There's lots of options. And then if we are more in a city, we do something called urban camping, which means that we just park in a legal overnight parking spot. And that's it. It's fine. Nobody bothers us. We don't bother anybody. But how will I make money? How will I pay my bills? How will I be able to maintain this lifestyle? Great questions. There are a few things to consider when thinking about moving into a location independent lifestyle. The first thing I had to recognize was how much of my money actually goes to my house. And really it's 60% of my income either goes towards my mortgage or some kind of homeowner's expense, utilities, things of that nature, or just, basic homeowner repairs that you need to make every now and then. Over 60% of my income. That is so much money that I'm putting into my house. And that has not been a waste because I was able to get a really good payback when I sold my house. I was able to get that equity and be able to live my life. That was a great investment at the time, but I'm ready to invest in myself now. So my cost of living is just going to decrease significantly. So I'm not going to need to make as much money as I was before. Now, for me, I love online teaching. I think it is so much fun. I love in-person teaching too, but I need a break for myself. My mental health just can't really handle that situation right now. And I enjoyed teaching online when we all went digital for COVID. It was fun for me, and I want to continue to do that. So I'm going to find an online teaching position, but also I'm able to find projects that I'm passionate about. Like the one that I'm doing right now, I'm helping build a virtual program for a facility for adults with intellectual and physical disabilities. I'm creating that whole thing, and I'm getting paid through that grant project. So I'm able to find my passions and chase those. I'm also fortunate enough to have all of you who buy my products on Teachers Pay Teachers, and that has absolutely made this possible for me as well. But really, it goes back to what I was saying before. It's about finding passion projects. And I know that sounds really cliche or whatever, but find projects you're passionate about. Find things that you actually want to do. And I have that freedom now. I can look all over the country. And if there's a short-term 6-month project in Philadelphia that I'm really interested in, I can go do that. And that's what location independence offers. So I'm not that worried. I know that if I continue doing what I'm doing here and continue with those lesson plans and find an online position, which I'm in the process of that right now, I'm sure I'll find something, I can live my life on my terms, which I'm really excited about. So why do I want to do this? When I talk to a lot of folks about this, they immediately come back to me with, oh, that wouldn't work for me, or reasons why they don't think it would work for me even. Like they tell me reasons why I shouldn't do it. And it's okay, because I know this is really not the way a lot of people in my life live. This is new. And whenever you see someone, especially someone you care about, trying to live a different lifestyle, it might be concerning. And I totally understand that. But I'm really passionate about this, and I know it's the right thing for me. Truly, I'm creating my own version of the American dream. This is what I want to do. And it's okay if it's not the same thing that people around me want to do. It's about having the freedom to do what you want and live your life on your terms. This school year was very challenging. I was teaching in person and virtual and hybrid all at the same time. We had multiple change in schedules, and it was just really difficult. And beyond that, I recognized that we needed to innovate in some ways, and I brought some new ideas to the table, and they were consistently shut down. And I was told that, oh, that's a really good idea, but we can't expect other teachers to collaborate and support each other, and you're asking too much, so that's a good idea for you, but we're not going to actually implement any of these ideas. By the way, will you write us an article about how successful you've been at online teaching? No, we're not actually going to implement those ideas. It drove me crazy. I couldn't do that anymore. And it's okay. I'm at peace with that situation. I understand that I just need to leave that district because it doesn't work for me. And I'm probably not working for it. And that's okay. It's our right to change directions. And that's a big contributing factor as to why I'm doing this. I've always had the plan to live in a van in like maybe 2 to 5 years, but after the school year and some of the things that happened, I decided I needed to get out of here a little sooner. And the housing market is just in a good place for me to sell, and I took advantage of all of these things, and here we are. Something I get asked a lot is, won't you miss teaching in person? Absolutely, I'm gonna miss teaching in person. I love building connections with students. I think that it's easier to do in person than it is online, but it's not impossible to do online. And I recognize that I do have some skill sets that make online teaching a little bit easier for me than some folks. So because I have those skill sets, and there's going to be online education one way or another, and I can talk about that more in a moment, I might as well take advantage of that new opportunity that is just being presented all over. It's popping up all over the country, jobs for virtual teachers. And for me, I want to teach remotely, so that makes it a little more tricky because like my current district, they might have virtual teachers, but they're still requiring them to come into the building. So that's another one of the reasons why I have to leave, and that's okay, but I'll find something. The thing about online education is I think there are a lot of students this year who fell through what I like to call virtual cracks. There were a lot of kids online at my district who just did not do work at all. And they're truly students I don't think logged into the computer one time. And a lot of them, we've never seen their faces. They don't turn their cameras on. And that I'm truly concerned about. But I also believe it doesn't have to be that way, because there are online programs out there. There are online schools and just some teachers that are experts at this who have been doing this for years, even before the pandemic. And what I wish would have happened, not just in my district, but all over the country, is schools turn to those resources that have been doing this for a long time and asking them how it's done. But that's not what happened. Instead, overnight, teachers were expected to turn all of their work online, and it was chaos, and they were just told to figure it out. We did not receive the training or tools or support that was needed. And part of that is because administrators purely didn't know what to do either. And another is districts didn't invest in those resources. Some of them didn't think that we would go virtual after the pandemic, but it really seems to be going that way. Especially in my home state of Indiana, school choice is such a big deal. We have parents using the voucher program to send their students to whichever school is best for them, including charter schools. Because of that, public schools are terrified of their numbers dropping, which means that we lose funding. So public schools have to find a way to compete with those charter schools, including online charter schools, and offer virtual programs. What I worry about is we're still not turning to the ones that have been doing it a very long time, such as the one I always think of is the Florida Virtual School. They have an amazing program. Some of the best educators I've met through conferences like AMLE, which is the American Middle Level Education Conference, are from the Florida Virtual School. But the point is that there are tools out there to make online learning successful, and I'm passionate about finding those and applying those online. Will I miss teaching in person? Absolutely. But I also enjoy teaching online, and if I ever want to go back to teaching in person, I can. And even with being location independent, I can choose a school somewhere in the country that I want to work at, make sure I get that job, what position, whatever, and then go teach there for a year, 2 years, however long I want. And then if I want to go somewhere else, I can go somewhere else. That's the beauty of location independence. For me, choosing to teach with location independence is equally terrifying and exciting, but it's far less terrifying than living a life that's not authentic. So I'm excited to go on this journey. Thanks for watching, and follow for more.